Black curtains. How like a shroud they are. Forgive me, Hastings. The melancholy overcomes me often of late. I thank you for joining me on this night. The blackout, the air raid sirens. It is not a night to be alone, n'est-ce pas?
I couldn't agree more, old chap.
I have the bonne idée. How we will pass the hours until we know for certain if tonight at last the bombers come. You have asked me to tell you of the murder that occurred most recently at the Smugglers Rest Hotel on Seadrift Island. I know I have revealed little beyond the fact that Poirot was able to use their little grey cells to bring the affair to a satisfactory conclusion. Yet the newspapers have said nothing. To think that a case of Poirot's does not merit at least a single paragraph is yet one more outrage I lay at the feet of Herr Hitler. He gobbles up space in the newspaper the way he gobbles up so much of Europe, including my own beloved Belgium. But tonight, I propose to take our minds off of the horrors of war. I will not only share with you the events as they happened, but more. You have often complained in your very charming British way, oh so polite, that Poirot withholds important facts and clues from you, so that you have no opportunity to solve yourself the crime. It's true. Bon, I have applied the grey cells, and a solution has presented itself. Here is your opportunity, mon ami. I will tell the story so vividly to you that you will think you are there yourself. You will direct Poirot's every action. Every fact, every clue will be there in front of your eyes. I will eliminate any characters without a part in our little drama. The hotel? It was not as understaffed as you will see it. In the same spirit, I set the stage. Oh, do not concern yourself with missing rooms, Hastings. Only those locations of importance will be presented. There will be no distractions. You will solve the case even as I did. Oh, peut-être. With a little hint here and there from the magical device you see there on that table. But no doubt, it will not be necessary.
Magical device?
It is called the Finger of Suspicion. It was given to me by a wizard, someone for whom I did a small favor last year in Manchester.
A wizard, eh?
Bien, sir. All you need to do is place one of these cards in the center of the machine. They each represent one of the players in our story. I will wave my hands above it so, utter the secret incantation, and it will point you in the right direction.
Well, for starters, it's complete rot. I know you, Poirot. If anyone has a more practical, clear-eyed view of how this world works, I haven't met him. You don't believe in magic. If you want to choose this method of giving me hints, I won't stop you. It'll be a treat to see you cavorting about like a stage prestidigitator. But I suspect the hints will somehow be coming from you.
If you are so certain it is nothing but hocus pocus, then would you be willing to try and solve the mystery of the Finger of Suspicion, as well as the murder on Seadrift Island?
Absolutely.
Very well. I will give you 7 clues at times of my choosing throughout the evening. Perhaps when you have all 7, you will be able to see the true genius behind the Finger of Suspicion. Here is your first clue. Power.
Power? The power of magic?
I give you the clues, Hastings. Do not expect me to explain them as well. Explore my office first. Equip yourself for your journey into the past. Come to me when you are ready. In the meantime, I will tell you 3 little stories to whet your appetite.
Ye gentlemen of England, who live home at your ease, it's little do you think of the dangers of the seas. When we receive our orders, we are obliged to go on the main to proud Spain, where the stormy winds do blow. saints preserve me!
Make of these stories what you will, mon ami. They are each related most closely to the events on Seadrift Island that you and I are about to explore. Keep them in mind. Explore my office first. Equip yourself for your journey into the past. When you are ready to begin your investigation, tell me. My story, it will commence, and you will have your chance to solve the mystery. The line it is out of service, Hastings. There is electricity, but a disconnection it exists somewhere. I am assured by my landlord that it will be functioning again in the morning. A wise choice, Hastings. With this stopwatch, you will be able to determine the time it would take the suspects to make their way to the scene of the murder.
Things are progressing exactly as I expected. This may be important. I'll keep it in my notebook. Interesting. I'll put it in my notebook. This document bears further study. I will keep it in my notebook. I'm ready, Poirot.
You need only to touch your portrait, and we are off. Notice how the portrait is now of Poirot. When you wish us to return to my flat, you have only to touch my portrait. Pardon, mademoiselle, what is your name?
Gladys, sir. Oh, sir. If it's about the towels, the delivery hasn't come yet from the mainland. And that Will is ever so unreliable.
There is no hurry. Poirot has completed his toilette.
Well, if it's the bed, I'll get to it when I can. There's so much to do.
Do not trouble yourself. You seem out of sorts. Is something wrong?
Oh, no, sir. No, not really.
There. What is it?
It's that Will Jenks, if you must know.
You seem quite angry with this Will Jenks.
Well? Oh, he thinks quite a bit of himself, he does. Just because a girl might go with him to the films in Kingsbridge or have a bit to eat at the local, he thinks he's got her wrapped around his little finger. Thinks he can do whatever he likes when she's not around.
Is there another girl?
He says no, but I've seen her with him at the garage and walking in the high street. And she's still a child, too. But I won't mention names. It would cost me my job.
I am sure he will see the error of his ways, mademoiselle. Be patient.
Huh.
What can you tell me of Seadrift Island?
Only that I wouldn't stay around here after dark.
Why not?
There's a ghost. Old Tom Cutter's ghost. A smuggler and a pirate. Murdered he was. Shot down by government agents after his gold.
You have seen this ghost?
I haven't, but many have. He haunts the pub here on the island what's closed now.
That will do for now, madame.
Ah, Mr. Poirot. Good morning. All settled in, are you?
Yes, Mrs. Castle, thank you. I am looking forward to my little holiday from crime.
Anything I can help you with?
A most beautiful island. Where can I learn more of its history?
That brochure will introduce you to the colourful past of Seadrift Island and Leathercombe Bay. Once you've studied that, you'll probably have more questions. I'm from London myself, but most of our staff are local. Perhaps they can help you, and the villagers have all sorts of wonderful stories.
Have the coastal evacuations affected you yet?
As you can see from the register, our two largest parties have gone. In the past few weeks, the Smugglers' End pub here on the island has closed, and Leathercombe Bay is almost a ghost town. Every day I expect Colonel Weston to order the hotel closed as well. It's only a matter of time, I'm afraid.
Who else is staying here at present?
You are welcome to check the register if you wish, Mr. Poirot. Perhaps you'll find someone you know.
I shall not keep you any longer, Mrs. Castle. Merci.
If you need anything more, I'll be in my office. Was there something else, Mr. Poirot?
Is the hotel safe at the disposal of guests?
Of course. We'll be happy to store any of your valuables.
Have you been the manager here long?
Only a few months. Not quite the situation I was hoping for, and it won't last much longer thanks to the war.
Are there any golf courses nearby on the mainland? Hastings, Poirot does not play the golf. Remember where, who you are.
Sorry, old man.
I will not impose upon you further, madame.
Mr. Poirot, there was one thing.
Oui, madame?
It's such a small matter, I feel silly bringing it to the attention of a gentleman with your reputation.
Do not let the reputation of Poirot cause you to hesitate in your inquiry.
Well, my wire recorder has gone missing. I used to dictate all my letters for a girl in the village to type up. She's learning to type, so she brings her own typewriter. I need only supply the paper.
When was the wire recorder taken?
Sometime on the evening of the 19th.
Do you lock your office?
There has never been any need. I lock the safe, of course. That is where all the valuables are kept.
Did anything else out of the ordinary happen on the day the recorder went missing?
Let me see. Well, that was the day Arlena Stewart arrived. A celebrity such as she causes quite a stir.
I am not sure what I can do, but I will be happy to keep my eyes and ears open, madame.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Poirot.
A wire recorder? Those things are huge. Shouldn't be difficult to track down.
Pardon, madame?
Well, Poirot, this will surely prove useful. I'll copy the valid information into my journal. I say, the latest number of Motor Enthusiast magazine, Poirot. What a stroke of luck. I've been looking out for this one.
Sorry, sir, the bar won't be open till 11.
I am merely making the morning constitutional, young man. What is your name?
Henry, sir.
What can you tell me of my fellow guests, Henry?
Well, I don't want to gossip, but Arlena Stewart, the actress, is staying here. And there's a Miss Rosamund Darnley in the dining room. I understand she's a famous dressmaker or something.
Are you from Lethercombe Bay?
No, sir. I live in Kingsbridge. Lethercombe Bay is a bit quiet for my taste, especially now they've begun the evacuations.
How long have you worked at the hotel?
3 years. Don't know what I'll do when they close her down.
How do you like working here, Henry?
Well, it's very nice, usually. Of course, Mrs. Castle, the manager, is something of a tartar. I expect that's because she's new and wants to establish her authority. Come to think of it, Gladys hasn't been herself lately. The first floor maid. Look, I'm no gossip, but I think she's had a row with her young man, Will Jenks. I expect it's nothing, really. Everyone's a bit tense these days.
I will leave you to your work, Henry.
Thank you, sir.
Forgive the intrusion, mademoiselle.
Oh,
I did not mean to startle you.
not at all. I must have been miles away. You're Monsieur Poirot, aren't you? I understood you joined us last evening. I'm Rosamund Darnley.
Enchanté. What brings you to Seadrift Island, Mademoiselle Darnley?
A short rest before the fall season.
But of course, You are the proprietress of Rosamund, the fashion house. Your designs are first-rate. Hastings, what does Poirot know of such things?
I'm surprised you are interested in women's fashions, Monsieur Poirot.
Sometimes I surprise even myself, mademoiselle. It is very quiet here, n'est-ce pas?
I don't mind the quiet. There were a number of children here until a few days ago. They were evacuated. Ken's daughter Linda is here, but she's 16. Hardly a child anymore. I've had one odd incident. A small crime, even.
Sometimes the small crimes are but appetizers to a main course.
I brought a typewriter down to catch up on some correspondence. It disappeared from my room the day after I arrived.
Have you been here on the island long?
Just a few days. It was a spur-of-the-moment sort of thing.
Did you report the theft?
No, my jewelry and over £20 in my purse were untouched. I suspect someone simply borrowed the typewriter and will return it when they're finished with it. Rude, perhaps, but possibly not a crime at all.
What day did you find the typewriter missing?
The 20th.
Did anyone take an interest in the typewriter when you arrived?
Come to think of it, a man named Major Barry did make some comment, but I rather felt he was simply looking for an excuse to talk to me.
Thank you, madame. This is a useful point to measure the time it takes to reach Cutter's Cove, the spot that will be the scene of the murder.
Hello there.
Good morning, mademoiselle. I am Hercule Poirot.
Emily Brewster. Pleasure to meet you.
You rest from your exertions?
No, I teach ballet to a lot of energetic young girls. It would take more than a little row around this tiny island to wear me out. I don't know if you noticed, but I found what looks like the carving of a dart on a rock on the path there when I came down to bathe. It appears to be quite old. I was curious to see if there were any more carvings along here.
And have your investigations met with success?
Nothing so far. The sea may have worn any away, I suppose.
Are you enjoying Seadrift Island?
To tell you the truth, Mr. Poirot, this was a necessary trip for me. I lost a very close friend several months ago. I'm here to try and come to terms with her death, and to reclaim my life if I can. Forgive me for being so frank to an innocent question. I'm not sure why I said that.
Not at all, mademoiselle. People often find they can confide in me.
Of course. You're that Hercule Poirot.
There is more than one?
I've heard of you, of course. I apologize, I didn't make the connection at once.
Have you been here at the hotel long?
9 or 10 days.
Have you formed any impressions of our fellow guests?
Are you down here on a case, Mr. Poirot?
No. For a short holiday only. Forgive me if the question was impertinent.
Oh, I don't mind. Let's see. Horace Black is a wealthy businessman, of the sort one tries to avoid in London. Loud and boorish. I think he finds us all rather boring. The Redferns seem like a nice couple, but I've noticed a tension between them. If you want my opinion, Arlena Marshall is at the bottom of it. She's one of those women men seem drawn to, and other women tend to hate.
You choose to bathe here instead of at the beach?
Yes, I do so every day. It's just a few steps from the hotel. And there's this one gentleman, Major Barry, who seems to take a rather obvious interest in women in bathing attire. Makes my flesh crawl. So I try to avoid the beach.
Good luck in your investigation.
Thank you.
I did not mean to frighten you, my friend.
You didn't, and I'm not.
The pub, it is open?
No.
You have the binoculars, I see.
What of it?
They are for the watching of birds?
Yes, I'm very fond of birds.
Are you staying at the hotel?
Are you?
Mais oui. Hercule Poirot, at your service.
My name is North. If he's a birdwatcher, I'm a penguin, Poirot.
Shall we follow him? It is up to you.
He's up to something, Poirot. Are you going to let him get away?
My shoes are of their finest leather, buffed to a perfect sheen. I will not be subjecting them to sea water.
Take them off, then.
No. If you wish to cross the causeway, summon the sea tractor. I will not wait.
Oh, for pity's sake.
The door, it is locked tight. Good morning, mademoiselle. May I join you?
I would be delighted. It's Madame Redfern, by the way. Christine. You must be Hercule Poirot, the famous detective.
I am he?
Modesty, old man.
You may have reason to be modest, Hastings. Poirot does not.
The old place was buzzing last night when you arrived.
Ah, it is a perfect day for sketching.
Yes, indeed. I'm trying to capture that sailboat down there.
I see it. The man at the tiller seems quite good.
That's Horace Black. He's a guest here. He splits his time mainly between the bay and the bar.
A red sail is unusual, is it not?
Yes, quite.
What brings you to the Smugglers Rest Hotel?
I'm here with my husband, Patrick.
Damn! Hastings!
It was his idea, really. He's the outdoors type. But I burn so easily, I'm afraid. I must take care.
Our time here may be cut short.
Because of the evacuation, you mean?
Many seaside resorts are already closed.
Yes, that's mainly why I agreed to come. This could be Patrick's last chance for who knows how long.
Where is your husband?
That's him down there, swimming.
You do not swim, Madame Redfern?
No. The man near the equipment shed is George, the bathing beach attendant. That other man in the chair is Major Barry. You'll find him there most days, especially if there are any women swimming.
Major Barry has an eye for the ladies?
Definitely. Bit of a bore too. Full of stories about the army in India. That and his dogs. He apparently has many, many dogs.
What can you tell me about our fellow guests?
Well, there's Emily Brewster. You'll usually find her rowing about the island. Ballet instructor at school in North Taunton, I believe. There's a couple from up north somewhere. Gardners. She'll talk your ear off. He's rather a dear, really. And Arlena Stewart, of course. You must have heard by now that she is here.
Oh, you know her?
My husband does. I'm afraid that's enough sum for me for a while, Mr. Poirot.
It has been a pleasure, madame. This is a useful point to measure the time it takes to reach Cutter's Cove, the spot that will be the scene of the murder. You wish to eavesdrop, Hastings? As you wish. We will listen to their conversation.
Sightseeing is all very well, and I like to do a place thoroughly. But a quiet spot by the seaside where I can just sit and do my knitting is so relaxing, isn't it, Oakley?
Yes, darling.
And this is such a picturesque spot, quite out of the world and at the same time very comfortable and most exclusive in every way, isn't it, Oakley?
Yes, darling.
Bonjour, madame. Bonjour, monsieur. I hope I do not disturb you.
Why, of course not. He's not disturbing us, is he, Oakley?
No, darling.
You must be our newest addition. Mr. Hercule Poirot, the famous detective. You recall me telling you he would be joining us, Oakley?
Yes, darling.
I am Mrs. Carrie Gardner. This is my husband, Oakley.
Very pleased to make your acquaintances. Are you enjoying your stay on the island?
Very much. It's so peaceful and relaxing. So far from the cares of the world, isn't it, Oakley?
Yes, darling.
This is an interesting spot.
Yes, isn't it? Not as much wind, I think, as the terrace above the bathing beach or over at Sanctuary Cove. Oh, look, Oakley. There goes Miss Brewster again. Can't think where she gets her energy.
What business are you in, Monsieur Gardner?
Oakley is retired, Mr. Poirot. He was manager and owner of the Lake District's best-known theatre company.
These days I travel and indulge my passion for collecting rare coins.
Enough of that. I'm sure Mr. Poirot isn't interested in old coins.
Our fellow guests seem most charming.
You think so? Some are, of course. Others, well, I wouldn't like to say, but I was telling Oakley just last evening that Stewart woman is paying quite too much attention to Mr. Redfern, wasn't I, Oakley?
Of course, having run a theatre, I'm well aware that actors aren't like us. They have different standards.
Lower standards.
Yes, darling.
And you should have seen Mr. Marshall and Miss Darnley laughing and joking yesterday. Everyone thought they'd just met, but apparently they are old friends.
I will leave you now. Eh bien. If you insist, we will eavesdrop yet again.
What a funny little Frenchman he is.
Frenchman?
It's hard to believe he could be the wonderful detective they say he is, isn't it, Oakley?
Yes, darling.
What are you thinking, Hastings? Poirot, he does not climb up and down the ladders?
Hello! You haven't seen a tennis ball in the grass, have you? I had a lob go spectacularly astray.
No, monsieur. I am sorry.
You wouldn't be Hercule Poirot by any chance, would you?
I am Poirot? Monsieur?
Kenneth Marshall. That was my wife, Arlena.
She is very charming, Madame Marshall. Hastings, if you embarrass me, we will cease the investigation at once.
My apologies, Poirot. I'll try to remember who I am.
Listen, Poirot. This is a bit of luck finding you here. Something rather distressing has happened. Since our arrival here on Monday, Arlena has received two, what I can only describe as threatening notes.
Do you have the notes?
Well, yes, here they are. Arlena thinks I destroyed them, but I thought I'd better not.
Very wise. One moment, please, while I examine them.
Arlena refuses to take them seriously. She says people are often jealous of her due to her success and her beauty, and it's no more than that. I'm not so sure.
You are right to be concerned. In my experience, Captain Marshall, the hatred to write such notes is one to take very seriously indeed.
Would you have a talk with Arlena and tell her that?
I will do as you ask. How did these arrive?
The first was simply shoved under her door. The second was found on her dressing table. Mr. Poirot, her door was locked.
When did Mrs. Marshall receive these?
That first note was found the morning after we arrived. That would have been August 20th. The second appeared yesterday. Knowing you are investigating has eased my mind enormously.
Captain Marshall, I will do what I can to assist you. But if I am to be successful, I must enjoy your wife's complete cooperation.
I hope you can succeed in convincing her of the gravity of the situation. If you'll excuse me, I have some letters to type.
He has some letters to type?
He seems unaware of the significance of what he has said. How many typewriters can there be on this island?
Seems more likely Miss Darnley's typewriter was borrowed to write the notes.
It is possible.
You knew there might be a real danger to Mrs. Marshall even then.
Yes, my friend. I could feel something in the wind. The way sailors can sense the approaching storm. This is a useful point to measure the time it takes to reach Cutter's Cove, the spot that will be the scene of the murder.
I say, that looks like one of those doors you find in old monasteries. What do you call them?
A monk's door, Hastings.
Tightly locked. And the door may be ancient, but that keyhole looks as if it had been recently used.
There is quite a passage down there. We will need something more than good intentions to shift this stone, however. This post looks like it was once an oar.
But what is its purpose now?
Curious, isn't it? It was an oar, I believe, planted quite securely in the ground now. I can't shift it. I'm Stephen Lane.
Hercule Poirot.
Ah, the detective. Maybe you have a theory what it's for.
Without more evidence, a deduction is difficult.
Here you go, then. I found these near the edge of the cleared space. Chicken feathers, I believe. I think those stains are dried blood. Suggestive, don't you think?
Perhaps. Do you have a theory about this post and the clearing, Monsieur Lane?
I felt something the moment I arrived on this island, Mr. Poirot. It is especially strong here. I can only describe it as a feeling of evil. More than a feeling, it's almost a physical presence.
Yes, it is very romantic here. It is peaceful. The sun shines, the sea it is blue. But there is evil everywhere under the sun.
There's a quote from Ecclesiastes. Yea, also the heart of the sons of men is full of evil, and madness is in their heart while they live. Nowadays, nobody believes in evil. Even with what is happening in Europe, they want to think that reason and common sense will prevail. But evil cannot be reasoned with, and it is real. It walks the earth.
What brings you to Seadrift Island, Monsieur Lane?
My health. I was the vicar of a church near Brixham. I became ill. I had to leave my church. I came here to heal among the historic churches and religious ruins of the area, like this old monastery. It dates back to the Middle Ages. The order was most known for producing a passable brandy, I believe, but they never flourished. I expect that was because of the site they chose.
What is wrong with this site?
It isn't the only Christian edifice erected on top of more ancient construction, as I'm sure you know. In this case, there was a Roman temple here, 500 years before the monks arrived. Unfortunately, it is believed it was a temple to Bacchus, a particularly nasty cult notable for debauchery and licentiousness.
Bacchus, eh? That might explain the decent brandy.
I was searching for evidence of the earlier temple when you arrived. I found an opening beneath one of the walls over there, leading down into the earth. But it's blocked by a sizable stone. I was hoping to use this post as a lever, but it's immovable.
What do you think of our fellow guests?
I haven't spent much time with them, I'm afraid. I've been poking around out here, mainly. If I could get some idea of the location of other nearby religious sites, I expect I'd be off to visit those. I think it would do me good after this place. Mr. Poirot, I'm feeling under the weather. These ruins take it quite out of me, I'm afraid. If you'll excuse me.
But of course. This is a useful point to measure the time it takes to reach Cutter's Cove, the spot that will be the scene of the murder. Bonjour, mademoiselle.
Hello.
I am Hercule Poirot, a fellow guest who has arrived only last night.
I'm Linda, Marshall. I'm here with my father and his wife.
What about the pile of brush interests you so?
It is just a pot of brush, isn't it?
You wish it were something else?
I was trying to make a blind, so the Gilmores would come closer.
A hunter's blind?
I don't want to hunt them. They're wonderful creatures. I just want to study them.
I would offer my assistance, but Poirot knows nothing of blinds, I am afraid.
Wait, Poirot. That won't do. Did you make a blind for the girl, or didn't you?
That is to say, I might be able to construct one?
You just didn't want to admit you'd done any physical labor.
You know nothing about them, but you can build one.
Yes. Is it not strange how we can feel such contradictory notions sometimes?
Oh, those? I have them all the time. I'm a mass of contradictions.
Guillemots? The birds?
Yes. Do you know about them?
I cannot say I do.
Hold on, Poirot, I do.
Now let the child speak, Hastings.
Oh. Oh, rather.
They are really quite common. These are of the genus Urea algae. They live in great colonies. They look almost like penguins, don't they? They waddle along and bow to one another. And sometimes they purr, almost like kittens.
Good heavens, Poirot. I never thought of it before, but you know who they remind me of?
They are truly marvelous. They seem to like it here very much.
The government made it a sanctuary for them. That's what this place is called now. Sanctuary Cove.
What brings you to the Smugglers Rest Hotel?
It was Arlena's idea. That's my stepmother.
Are you enjoying yourself?
No, I hate it. I don't know why we're here.
Ah well, the summer it is almost past. I think your school it will be starting again soon?
Miss Porter's? I suppose so. I wouldn't know.
Miss Porter's? Hastings, the name of this school is familiar to me. There is a newspaper account in my files. What do you think of your fellow guests?
Miss Darnley's nice, and Christine Redfern is too. But I hate her husband.
He is unkind to you?
No, it's my father I care about. He can't see it, but I can. I see what's happening.
It has been a pleasure, mademoiselle.
Can you really make a blind? I'm no good at it at all.
I will try.
Thank you.
Hastings, what have you gotten me into now?
Relax, old man. All we really need is some cord, a couple of sturdy posts, and something to anchor it all with. Tent stakes, for example.
Tent stakes? On an island with a perfectly good hotel. Why would anyone need tent stakes?
Oh, well, I see your point. A sturdy post. A sturdy post.
This is a useful point to measure the time it takes to reach Cutter's Cove, the spot that will be the scene of the murder.
Morning, sir. I'm afraid the rowboat is out, but I could set you up with a nice rubber float.
No, thank you. Poirot does not float.
Oh, no worries, sir. A bit of exercise would soon help that.
Yes. I see no cause for amusement. You are the beach tender?
That's right, sir. I keep an eye on the equipment, look after the grounds, the tennis court, and so on as well.
Do you enjoy your job?
It's all right. Not much for excitement, and the new manager's ever so strict. Henry the barman, though. He's my mate. Henry makes an excellent cocktail. He makes a superb planter's punch, direct from the Caribbean it is.
Are you from this area?
Born and raised in Lethercombe Bay.
You must know many interesting stories of the area.
You mean Tom Cutter, the ghost, the treasure? Mr. Gardner was quizzing me about old Tom just the other day. Some will tell you it's just stories, but I saw him a few weeks back, white and glistening in the moonlight like he'd risen from the sea.
He was drowned?
Yes, sir. Some rival done him in. You'll hear other accounts, but that's my belief.
How do you know the figure you saw was a ghost?
Well, he disappeared into thin air, didn't he?
Where did you see him?
Outside the Smugglers' End pub well after midnight. He passed inside. I'd had my share of liquid courage, so I follows him. Down into the cellar he goes, so down I go. And what do you think?
He was helping himself to a tankard of grog? Grog? What is grog, Hastings?
Shh. No. Vanished into thin air. Ghosts do that.
How long have you worked here?
Almost 10 years now. But that's all coming to an end.
Why is that?
Got my papers, didn't I? Reporting for duty next week. Navy frogman, that's what I'm going to be.
I will leave you to your duties. Good morning, monsieur.
Capital morning, capital. You must be that detective Johnny who arrived last night. Major Montague Barry, late of His Majesty's Army in India.
It is a pleasure, Major Barry. You are on a bathing beach, but you do not bathe, Major?
No, never got the taste for it. The scenery can be quite pleasant, though.
Yes, it is very nice.
Nice? Now? Wouldn't say that. None of the finest sex about. Good-looking fillies, some of them. Where are they all, I wonder?
Have you been at the hotel long?
Couple of weeks. One last hurrah, you might say, before Fritz arrives on our doorstep.
Yes, they are coming very soon now, I think.
Bombs first, of course. Soften us up, or so they think. Not like India. I was there for the start of the Third Afghan War. Now that was war with some honor to it. Those days you could see a man's eyes go dull as you killed him.
How did you come to Seadrift Island?
I show my dogs over in Dartmouth twice a year. Train them, you see. Always told myself I'd stay here once when I got my chance.
Are your dogs here? At the hotel?
Not likely. They're safe at some kennels I found near Exmoor. Had to get them out of London, you see. Wouldn't have stood the bombing, poor beasts.
Do you know anything of the history of this place?
Not much. Heard some rot about Roman orgies way back when. Then some monks decided this would be a wonderful place to make brandy. There's that smuggler Tom Cutter, of course. Gave his name to a cove here on the island. Supposed to still haunt the pub. That's about it.
Any impressions of our fellow guests?
That actress is a fine specimen, no denying. The Redfern lass is not bad, but a bit too pale for my taste. I like 'em with a bit of colour. Miss Darnley, the dressmaker, she's quite attractive in her own way, too.
Enjoy the scenery, Major Barry.
I will, when it arrives.
A length of sturdy cord.
Patrick, darling, you're such a child.
Man enough. I see what you mean, old man. There is indeed a storm coming.
This is a useful point to measure the time it takes to reach Cutter's Cove, the spot that will be the scene of the murder. It is an unusual wreck for a garden, lad.
It's to keep the clay of the court smooth. And from the look of that clay, it's about time for a good rake. Bit of a low spot in the near at-service court. Perfect. Now let me handle this, Poirot.
As you wish.
Not a bad blind, if I do say so myself. This looks important. I will keep it in my notebook.
Maybe in these things, you have made good progress. The principals of the cast have made their entrances. You have explored as much as was possible to me on the morning of August 24th. You have uncovered some of the mysteries that made me uneasy, even then.
Did you already know murder was in the wind?
It was very clearly indicated, monsieur.
Why didn't you stop it?
If a person is determined to commit murder, it is not easy to prevent them. I do not blame myself for what happened. It was inevitable.
What are my next steps?
When you are ready, we will continue our little game. I was able to explore further. Introduce yourself to the residents of Lethercombe. Look for opportunities to assist anyone you can in the village or on the island. They will appreciate your thoughtfulness and will be more likely to help you when you need a favor in return. As before, if you find yourself unable to progress, I will assist with the magic of the Finger of Suspicion.
Yes, uncanny, that gadget. I believe you promised me a second clue to unravel its mysteries.
Quite right, my friend. The clue is lamp.
Power. Lamp. Illuminating.
Oh, I didn't think you were here, sir. Your towels are fresh and your bed linen changed, so never you mind about that.
Good grief. That girl certainly got the wind up over something.
The boyfriend, Will Jenks. I suspect he's the cause.
If I remember correctly, this must be Stephen Lane's room.
No markings on the bottle at all. I will take only 2. Perhaps we can determine what they are.
A Bible, Poirot.
Not so unlikely a thing to find in the room of a former clergyman?
Revelation 2:20. Thou sufferest that woman, Jezebel, which calleth herself a prophetess, to teach and to seduce my servants to commit fornication and to eat things sacrificed unto idols. Now, why would he have that particular passage open? I think this room belongs to Major Barry.
There is nothing beneath the pillow.
One of those straps on the suitcase might come in handy.
From the looks of these betting receipts, the Major is his bookmaker's best and unluckiest customer. Do you observe anything unusual, Madame Castle?
Not yet, I'm thankful to say. Mr. Black's sailboat put into Leathercombe Bay a short while ago. I suspect he'll make for the Monkshood before heading back out.
What do you look for so intently, Madame Castle?
U-boats, Mr. Poirot. I have seen them, too.
So close to shore?
Oh, yes. I suspect there's one out there right now, watching.
Have you told this to Monsieur Blatt?
Yes, I did. He laughed at me and said they were not likely to waste a torpedo on his tiny sailboat.
He has their point there. What is the Monk's Hood?
The only pub still open between here and Kingsbridge. Albert Bagley runs it.
Who has the key to the Smugglers' End?
Colonel Weston took charge of it when they closed up.
Colonel Weston? But he is an old friend of mine.
He's set up shop in the police station.
But is he not the chief constable for the entire district?
Yes, but he runs the home guard for this area. He's overseeing the coastal evacuations. We used to have a local constable, but after evacuations got underway, he was transferred to Modbury.
May I borrow your binoculars?
I need them, Mr. Poirot. I promised Colonel Weston I'd keep watch.
Surely no attack will come during the afternoon?
Why do you want binoculars?
To observe the guillemot at the Sanctuary of the Birds?
You don't strike me as the bird-watching type, Mr. Poirot.
It is odd that you say that, madame. I thought the same of a gentleman I met this morning.
What gentleman?
He called himself Mr. North. Is he perhaps a guest?
No, I've never heard of him.
To help in the watch for U-boats?
Well, I do have other duties to attend to. I mark any sightings on the calendar in my office, if you would do the same. I then pass on the information to Colonel Weston.
But of course.
And if you wouldn't mind doing me one small personal favour.
I would be happy to assist you, madame.
If you would return this book to the lending library, I'd think that a very fair trade.
I shall do as you ask.
Here you are, then. I'll be off.
The door is locked, but I can hear their voices from within. Perhaps we should listen a bit closer, Hastings.
You had no right to tell that silly little man about the notes.
If you can't take them seriously, someone must.
I rather thought you might have written them.
Me? Why on earth?
If you thought I'd been misbehaving again.
Do you think I can't see why you dragged us down here for a holiday?
Somebody told me about this place. I think it was the Rylands.
Look here, Arlena. I know what you're like. That boy is fond of his wife, really. Must you upset the whole blinking show?
Kenneth, don't let Patrick upset you so. He's a puppy, nothing more.
So you admit that young Redfern is crazy about you?
It's really rather stupid of him. You know, don't you, Ken, that I don't really care for anyone but you.
I think I know you pretty well, Arlena.
This should do the trick. Hang on, it doesn't fit at all.
Ah, things are seldom as simple as they seem. A solidly built safe that needs a key to open it.
A bust of somebody named Tom Cutter. Never heard of him. The felt on the bottom appears to be loose.
Fascinating.
A plate with a keyhole in it. Another key. One could hardly call this bust a bust at all. Wouldn't you say, Poirot?
Ah, a welcome appearance by the most elusive rarity, the wit of the British.
Right. No need for barbs, old man.
The safe, it opened effortlessly. It must see frequent use.
A common enough oil lantern used for signaling.
We will leave it for the present, Hastings.
These codes aren't standard Morse. I don't like the look of them at all. Good God, Poirot. That's a German two-way radio. I think we'd better have a talk with that castle woman.
No. Make a note of the codes. But we must not remove anything or mention our discovery, Hastings. I agree something is not right, but let us rest and see what occurs with her.
Kenneth, if I say something to you that is probably outrageously impertinent, will you never speak to me again?
I don't think I'd ever regard anything you say to me as impertinent.
Why don't you divorce Arlena? She's pretty notorious.
You don't understand, my dear girl.
Are you so frightfully fond of her?
It's not a question of that.
Arlena's not good for Linda, nor for you.
Perhaps. But you see, I gave my word. Marriage is a vow, Rosa. I'm sick of quick marriage and easy divorce. Arlena's my wife. That's all there is to it.
Till death do you part?
Yes. Till death do us part.
I see.
Bonjour, Monsieur Gardner. Have you lost something?
What? Oh, hello, Mr. Poirot. Lost something? No. Just looking at the grass.
You look at the grass with great intensity.
Nothing wrong in that, I hope. My hobby could be gardening, like my name.
It could be, that is true. But you have already told me your hobby is collecting rare coins.
I did I? Well, it's true.
A wonderful view from this spot.
Yes, I'm told Tom Cutter spent long hours up here, watching the sea for ships that might run aground.
What brings you and the charming Mrs. Gardner to Seadrift Island?
Whim, I think. I don't quite recollect. No, that's not it. Oh, my God.
What is it?
Why did we come here? We came here... Good God, man. Today is our anniversary. August 24th, 29th anniversary, and I had completely forgotten. What am I going to do? If I try to sneak into time, she'll know. She'll know I forgot.
Do not concern yourself, my friend. I, Hercule Poirot, will undertake this mission for you, and Mrs. Gardner will be none the wiser.
That's very decent of you, Mr. Poirot. What can I do in return? Just repaying you doesn't seem enough.
Huh? Possibly tell me the truth about why you came to Seadrift Island.
I expect you've already guessed, but if you can find Carrie a present, I'll be happy to share all I know.
Eh bien, no time must be lost. What shall I purchase for her?
Why, I don't know. Use your own discretion. No frilly undergarments, though. That wouldn't do. I need to alert the cook. We'll want a little cake and champagne.
This is a splendid blind. The birds practically walked right up to me.
I am pleased you find it adequate, Mademoiselle Marshall.
But there's something wrong. Look at that one on the rock nearest the shore. What is on it, Mr. Poirot?
It looks like oil, Poirot. Maybe from a leaky boat engine. It'll kill the bird, I'm afraid.
Mademoiselle, it is oil, I fear. Very bad for living things.
Oh, please, please, Mr. Poirot. We must try to save it.
Hastings? I am out of my depth here.
I'm afraid I am too, old man. Maybe there's someone in the village who could help us?
Did you know that woman was going to be here?
Look, Christina, I don't know what's come over you.
Over me? Oh, Patrick, you insisted so on coming here. You knew Mrs. Marsh was going to be here. You're infatuated with her.
For God's sake, Christine, don't make a fool of yourself.
We've been so happy.
We are happy. But we shan't go on being happy if I can't even speak to another woman without you kicking up a row.
You're in love with her.
Don't be ridiculous. Come on, let's go back to the hotel.
I'm climbing down to Cutter's Cove. You can come if you like.
This isn't good.
No, my friend. Yet there is nothing we can do. Events will take their course.
What do you think you're playing at?
Poirot, he goes for the afternoon constitutional. Nothing more.
Poirot, you say? The detective?
The very same?
I'm Patrick Redfern. My wife, Christine, and I. You down here on the case?
No. Merely the holiday. Oh, you are on holiday as well?
That's right. I'm an estate agent. Always hard on the housing market. So we took a few days off.
War is hard on many things.
That's true enough.
How do you like Seadrift Island?
I think it's grand, actually. The weather has been cooperating and the swimming is first rate. I used to spend most of my time as a boy exploring this coast long before there was a hotel here.
I observed earlier, you enjoy their friendship with Arlena Marshall.
Oh, she's just an acquaintance Christine and I made up in London.
Quite the coincidence, all of you turning up here.
Yes, rather.
What was it like here when you were a boy?
Just the Smugglers and pub, all shut up, here on the island, and Cutter's Cave, of course.
Cutter's Cave?
It's behind some rocks down in Cutter's Cove there. You haven't explored it?
No. The ladder? It is safe?
The metal one sounds enough. You can also row around from the bathing beach if you like.
And Mrs. Redfern, does she share your enthusiasm?
Yes, she's enjoying her sketching immensely. She's quite good at it too. If you'll excuse me, Mr. Poirot, I'm going to wait on the deck for my wife.
Good afternoon, Madame Gardner.
Hello, Mr. Poirot.
May I join you?
I should like the company. Thank you.
That is a very beautiful shawl.
Oh, thank you. It seems as I've been working on it for ages.
You enjoy the knitting?
Oh, yes. Oakley has his coins. I have this. There. Finished.
Oh, you are very skilled. Monsieur Gardner seems young to be already retired.
Oh, well, to tell you the truth, Mr. Poirot, retirement chose Oakley. He did not choose it.
A financial misfortune.
Yes. You recall his mentioning the theatre he used to manage?
Bien, sir.
He was the owner as well. The theatre had not been doing well. Oakley hit on the idea of paying a great deal of money, more than he could afford to lose, to attract a major star to perform there. She took the money and claimed illness. The show was cancelled. There was nothing for it but to close. We live off his army pension and a bit I've put away.
What brought you to Seadrift Island, Madame Gardner?
Oh, my goodness!
What is it?
Our anniversary is today. Our 29th anniversary, and I had forgotten it. Oh, I have nothing to give him.
Perhaps that shawl? I have often found them of great value, fending off the cold of a winter evening.
Oakley wouldn't be caught dead in a shawl. And I have no time to knitting anything else.
I see.
Oh, Mr. Poirot, I know he'd give me my present at dinner. What shall I do?
Allow Poirot to assist you. I will find a suitable gift.
If you could do that, this shawl is yours. I'd better get back to the hotel. I want to be ready for dinner.
Poirot, there is too much going on to bother ourselves with this.
Au contraire, my friend. It does not hurt to help others in need. And that is a shawl I would prize. There is something snagged by the swimming float. I wonder what it could be.
Life-ring buoy by the look of it. I wonder if a ship has come to harm. I know there's no use asking if you have a quick swim out there to have a look.
I am happy you realize that, my friend. Monsieur Redfern, Poirot is not the swimmer like you. I noticed something caught on the swimming float. It may cause an injury to someone. Would you retrieve it?
I'd be happy to help you, but the strap on my swimming goggles is broken. As much as I like swimming, I can't go into the salt water without my goggles.
Perhaps I can repair them for you.
There you go. I'll be here most of the afternoon, I expect, if you manage to fix them.
Let us hope the Major is not as observant as Poirot. Almost there. But yes, your ingenuity is remarkable.
Yes? Mr. Poirot, you fixed my goggles. That's part of the strap from a suitcase, isn't it? How clever. Let's see what has been snagged on the swimming float. Beastly hot. I'll enjoy the dip.
Redfern's fixed his goggles, has he?
Yes.
Here you are, Mr. Poirot. It's a life ring, boy. I can't see it getting torn about that way by simply catching on the swimming pool.
Torn? Rubbish. Poirot, those look like bullet holes.
So, you got your goggles repaired, Redfern?
Yes, Major. Mr. Poirot ingeniously cut up a luggage strap to replace the broken one.
Luggage strap? Why, so it is. In fact, if I didn't know better...
Thank you for the assistance, Monsieur Redfern. Good day, gentlemen. You continue to impress me, Hastings.
From the looks of this tunnel, no one's been down here in a long time. The dust on the floor is undisturbed.
A Roman column dating to the 1st century. Roman to be sure. Just think of the history these stones have seen, Hastings.
By Jove, a gold coin in top condition.
May know, my friend Hastings, I could blunder about in these tunnels for hours while who knows what crimes are committed in my absence. I need some means to ensure I am traveling in the proper direction.
Mr. Poirot, did you find something Oakley would like as an anniversary present?
I believe I have, madam. This gold coin should interest him, don't you think?
Oh, this is perfect. Wherever did you find it?
That must remain my secret for now.
Here is your shawl, Mr. Poirot, and thank you.
Try again, Poirot. It's easy.
Do I look like the fisherman to you, Hastings?
You've done it!
Only a first step, mademoiselle. Take the bird to my bath and wait for me there.
Come along, you poor little thing.
I did not mean to frighten you, Major Barry.
What? Frighten me? A man with 20 years of service to Her Majesty on the frontier? Rubbish!
That fellow is up to something, Poirot. Mark my words.
Something, or someone, had certainly captured his interest. Madame Marshall?
This island is too small. There is nowhere to hide.
If you wish it, I will withdraw.
No, never mind. The famous detective, I believe.
I am at your service, madame.
Are you indeed? That's uncommonly good of you. I understand Kenneth told you about the notes I've received.
I think you should take these notes seriously, madame.
You may be right.
You have had the change of heart, then?
You could say that.
In order to help, I must ask of you some questions.
Impertinent questions, I should think.
Necessary questions.
Very well, then.
Was it Mr. Marshall who made you decide to speak with me?
Kenneth? No, of course not.
What was it, then?
I've received another threat. Here it is. The day of your punishment is at hand. It sounds rather like things are coming to a head, doesn't it?
I would say so, yes. Do you know of anyone who might wish you harm?
I'm rich, beautiful, and famous. There's a certain delight in those who are not rich or beautiful or famous when someone like me makes a misstep or suffers some tragedy. The newspapers and film magazines thrive on stories of the high and mighty brought low.
All that you say may be true. Yet these notes do not sound as if they were written from jealousy. The underlying emotion feels to me different.
Hatred?
Exact.
It's no secret I get on with men, Monsieur Poirot. I like men. Men like me. Not so the women. If I were to suspect anyone, it would be a woman who believed I had wronged her in some way.
A name would be helpful.
Possibly. But that is all I'm going to say.
Has anyone here on the island aroused your suspicions?
No. Not a soul.
This surprises me. I thought actors were keen observers of the human nature.
Do not confuse lack of observation with lack of interest, Monsieur Poirot.
Is there nothing you can tell me that would assist me in helping you?
Tell me this. Are you certain the notes mean my life is in danger?
No, madame, I am not.
Oh, come now, Poirot. Isn't it obvious?
No, Hastings. Nothing is obvious.
I agree with you. Good day.
Need the sea tractor, do you?
Yes, please.
On me way. There's not so much to do in Leathercombe Bay now that the evacuation's begun. Most places are closed up except the chemists. Mrs. Hughes has to stay because she's the post office too, and lending library if it comes to that. But it's the post that must be seen too. Now that the Smugglers' End is closed, the only pub is the Monk's Hood. Mr. Bagby is trying to stay open long as he can. Once the hotel is closed, there won't be much trade for him. Ready to head back to the island, Mr. Poirot?
Not quite yet.
I know we haven't been properly introduced, but I'm Will Jenks, and I've heard you're a famous detective.
I am the detective, it is true. But famous? No. That is something of an exaggeration.
Steady on, old boy.
Ah, Hastings, you caution me against braggadocio, so I display modesty, and still you find fault.
It's my young lady, Gladys. Maybe you've seen her at the Smugglers' Rest?
Bien, you are a lucky young man.
I do know that, Mr. Poirot. Not many girls in these parts can hold a candle to my Gladys. But lately she's been very distant to me.
She is of the opinion that you are seeing someone else.
But that's nonsense.
Someone she called only the slip of a girl?
But who? She means that Marshall girl what arrived a few days ago. She's been following me about ever since I first took him across on the sea tractor.
Have you encouraged Madame Marshall?
I should hope not. Why, she's just a kid. She'd be in school if she wasn't tossed out of that posh girls' school of hers.
In some ways, yes. Perhaps she is, as you say, still the kid. In others, who can tell? Where has she followed you?
She'll call for the sea tractor. I'll bring her across. Then she'll want to go right back to the island again. Then she's always hanging about the garage here. I think she may be a thief too.
What makes you say that?
Well, my shovel's gone missing, hasn't it? And I first noticed it was gone right after one of her visits here. You believe me, don't you, Mr. Poirot?
Yes, but it is not important that I believe you. It is Gladys who must believe.
I'll wring that Linda Marshall's neck for her.
I will have the talk with Mademoiselle Masher. In the meantime, there will be no wringing of the necks. Promise me.
I promise.
The village is practically abandoned.
Yes? Did I keep you waiting? I'm afraid I'm not myself today. I'm ever so distracted trying to solve this mystery.
A mystery? Sounds promising.
What is the nature of your mystery, madame?
Several letters have gone missing over the past few days. I can't understand it. I'm terribly conscientious with the post, I promise you. Someone must be stealing them.
Were the letters valuable?
No. They were important to my customers who were expecting them, perhaps, but none contained money or anything like that. Still, my customers are complaining, and I'm at a loss to explain it. May I help you, sir?
I am returning a book for Mrs. Casser.
Oh, Love's Captive by Mrs. Arabella Richardson. I've read that one. It's a classic.
How anyone can call that rot a classic is beyond me.
I agree, Hastings, but we should not judge.
You're right, of course, old man. Not everyone can appreciate true classics like Rough Shooting or By Motor Across Asia.
Do you have any books on the caring for the wild birds?
I know we have a book on local birds somewhere. Let me see. Oh, here it is. Birding on Devon's Shores by Major Marcus Touchberry. And yes, here's a chapter describing some treatments for various afflictions. Oh dear.
What is it?
Most of the time the author says to just shoot them. There's another chapter of recipes.
How much is the book, please?
50 pence for the week. Thank you for your business, sir.
That will do for now, madame.
Let's see. That will be 5 pence, if you please, sir.
I need more money, Hastings.
Wire your bank.
Madame, I find myself short of the required funds. I need to wire my bank.
Of course, sir. Just step over to the post office, if you please. May I help you, sir?
Do you have any books suitable as an anniversary present for a wife?
To purchase, you mean, sir? Not many. Let me see. Tell me about your wife, sir. Are you interested in spicing up your relationship a tittle?
No. No spice is needed.
Lady Chatterley's lover is right out, then. What else? Is she fond of murder, sir?
I should hope not.
Too bad. Murder's very popular.
Lucky for you, Poirot. Shouldn't like to see you out of a job.
Keep searching, if you please.
I don't suppose she knits.
But of course she knits. Very much she knits.
Here's a brand new book we just got in. Easy French Knitting Patterns by Eugenie Blottieri. 1 6, please.
Huh? £1 6 shillings?
Colour illustrations cost a bit more.
I need more money, Hastings.
Wire your bank.
Madame, I find myself short of the required funds. I need to wire my bank.
Of course, sir. Just step over to the post office, if you please.
There's an envelope stuck down there behind the cabinet.
I see it, Hastings. I also see the cat.
Thank you, sir. I'll send it off directly.
It would appear you are very much the John of all trades.
Well, yes, we are short-staffed at the moment, so I am indeed a temporary factotum of sorts. Fortunately, the customers are as scarce as the help. I'm sorry, sir. You mustn't touch that. I use the test tubes to test for chemicals, and to make up the various solutions and powders I dispense by prescription, and the microscope to look for impurities.
It is a shame not to have access to the equipment, Hastings. It would be handy to be able to test various substances you come across in your investigation.
Look at the size of that brute. A life ring, Poirot. Very handy if the pub should start to sink.
Like to try your hand at a game of darts?
No merci.
Maybe later then.
Perhaps. Does that formidable dog belong to you?
Yes, that's Baskerville. I've had him since he was a small... well, he was never that small.
Not many customers today.
What can you expect? Most of the town has been evacuated. And very few tourists turn up these days.
You enjoy the playing of the darts?
Darts is my game, right enough. It's been a tradition in these parts for centuries. Did you know the famous smuggler Tom Cutter was an expert dartsman?
No, I did not.
Struth. He played at the Smugglers' End almost every night when he wasn't out at sea. A masterful player was old Tom. They say he scored more ton 80s than anyone before or since.
Ton 80s, Hastings?
The highest possible score in a single throw, Poirot. 3 darts, all inside the inner narrow ring of the 20 wedge.
I trust Baskerville is the excellent watchdog?
Oh, hey. We have never had any trouble in here since Baskerville's come of age. Can't train him to do anything, of course. but with Baskerville, growling works a treat.
Has Baskerville ever bitten anyone?
Well, doesn't need to, does he? All he has to do is growl.
Have you ever seen Tom Cutter's ghost?
No, but I've heard of them that has. If I was lucky enough to meet up with a ghost, I'd challenge him to a game of darts.
And how did he die?
He was hanged by the excise men from the Smugglers' Ensign. It's said he walks again every year on the anniversary of his death.
And on what day did he die?
August 24th, that's right. Tonight is the anniversary of Tom Cutter's murder.
Monsieur Cutter lived at the Smuggler's End?
Hey, it was the only lodging on the island until the hotel was built a few years ago.
Do you know anything of Tom Cutter's treasure?
A lot of folk have looked high and low for the treasure, but no one's found so much as a farthing in all these years.
Thank you for the conversation, my friend.
Stop in any time. Maybe we can have a darts match.
Bonjour, Colonel Weston.
Poirot, my old friend. What brings you to Leathercombe Bay?
A short trip to the seaside to replenish their little graces.
You stopping at the Smuggler's Rest? Damn shame, old man. I expect to get orders to close up the hotel any day now. This is one of the last coastal areas to be evacuated.
You're in charge of the Home Guard?
Yes, I've set up camp in the Leathercombe Bay police station now that their constables left for Modbury to help there.
Dangerous times, Colonel.
Indeed. I have spotters up and down the stretch of coastline. We've had several sightings of U-boats quite close to shore this month alone.
Mon Dieu! When?
Let's see. August 5th, the 13th, the 16th, and again just last night, the 23rd.
Poirot, those dates don't match at all with Mrs. Castle's calendar.
It is true what you say, Hastings. Have you noticed any suspicious characters about?
Any stranger is suspicious these days. Did you have someone specifically in mind?
I came upon a man who called himself North. He seemed to be trying to gain entry to the Smugglers' End pub.
I have the only key. If he's that thirsty, he'll have to come over here to the mainland and break in. I'll keep a lookout for him. If you could get me a picture, I could send it off to Scotland Yard and see if they can come up with anything.
May I borrow the key to the Smugglers' End? I would like to see if I can discover what interests him.
Be my guest. Regular law enforcement stretched pretty thin these days.
Is that your stethoscope?
Belongs to Dr. Neasden, a local coroner. He left it here last night. I was going to return it to him.
Say, that would work a treat if we wanted to listen at doors.
May I borrow it?
Practicing medicine without a license, Poirot.
It may be useful. One never knows.
You're welcome to it. I'm sure Neasden has others.
Do you have the file of the Millie Parsons murder case?
Yes, at my office in Kingsbridge. A bad business. I'll have it sent over this afternoon.
Many thanks, Colonel.
All right, Poirot. We've known each other a good many years. You need a stethoscope and the key to the pub? You'll forgive my saying so, but this sounds like a busman's holiday to me. If you are onto something, don't you think you'd better share?
My friend, I have only the suspicions. But yes, I think there may be some cloud hanging over Seadrift Island. A number of items have gone missing. There is tension in the air. It was never my intention to take on a case here. But now, my visit may have become what you say, the busman's holiday.
Well, let me know if you uncover any serious evidence of a crime. I'll be here in Leathercombe Bay tomorrow if you need me.
Many thanks, my friend.
I'm off now, over to Kingsbridge for a district guard meeting.
Farewell.
Fancy a short game, sir? 3 throws each?
I will try my luck.
Oh, I pegged you for a sporting gentleman the moment you first walked in here. We each start with 301 points. I don't have time for a complete game, I'm afraid. Whoever hits the highest score subtracts that from 301. We'll declare him the winner. Go on, you go first.
Not a very stellar performance, I'm afraid.
Bonjour, monsieur.
Hello, a new face. Join me, sir. Blatt's the name. Horace Blatt.
Hercule Poirot.
Hairdresser, are ya?
I beg your pardon?
Oh, I dunno. Something about your manner.
I am not a dresser of hairs. I am a detective.
A detective?
Oui, it is true. I arrived only last night. You are the avid sailor, Monsieur Blatt.
Used to sail quite a bit as a boy. Not this part of the world. Off the east coast. I could have a first-rate yacht if I liked, but somehow I don't really fancy it. Much rather muck about in that little yawl of mine.
You would rather do the sailing yourself, perhaps? Rather than a crew?
Got it in one, Monsieur Poirot. I like being in control, I suppose. Feeling the boat respond as I put her through her courses. Same with business too, come to think of it. Made me what I am today. You've heard of Blatt's Hardware, I'm sure.
I may have.
Biggest concern of its kind in London.
It is not often one sees this sailboat with a red sail.
Oh, I like a bit of change. No harm in it, I suppose.
None at all. What brings you to Seadrift Island?
Don't really know why I came here. I suppose it sounded romantic. Smugglers' Rest. Makes you think of when you were a boy. Pirates, smuggling, all that.
What do you think of our fellow guests?
Mostly a dried-up lot of sticks, if you ask me. That Mrs. Marshall. She's the only lively one in the place. I should think Marshall's got his hands full with her. Oh, Redfern's all right too, I guess. He's been out once or twice with me in my yawl. Can't get hold of him now, always hanging about Mrs. Marshall. Afraid I have to run over to Kingsbridge.
You will sail no more this afternoon?
I think not. Saw a bank of fog sitting off the coast when I was out before. Expect it'll roll in before evening. Wouldn't want to get caught in it along this coast. Good day to you, Monsieur Poirot.
Now, why should the fact that you're a detective get his wind up? Poirot!
Hairdresser?
Like a ride to the island?
Yes, please.
Let's be off then. I've been looking after the hotel garage and driving the sea tractor for almost 5 years now. Motor cars are my fashion. I keep the guests' motors clean and full of petrol. I also tend to any repairs they might need as well. Just look at that Major Barry's motor now. A 1938 Triumph Dolomite. It's a beautiful piece of British style and manufacturing. I can't think but what the war effort will take for great designers to work on tanks and whatnot.
That is not such a good... It is as it should be.
dartboard looks centuries old. I say, Poirot, see the carved letters? 2 N's and an E.
What have we here, Hastings?
Mineral oil makes a spiffing laxative.
We will borrow the mineral oil, Hastings. But Poirot has no need of the laxative. Précisément, we progress.
Now rub the mineral oil onto the bird with this brush. This will make the motor oil easier to remove.
I scrubbed the poor thing with mineral oil. I suppose we're fighting oil with oil.
Eh bien, now I must apply the detergent to the brush. Précisément, we progress.
Now rub the detergent onto the bird with this brush to remove the oils.
We progress. Now we must rinse the bird. I will turn on the taps. We are almost finished, mademoiselle. Dry the bird with these towels. That is not going to help. Splendid work, Mademoiselle Musher.
I confess I didn't think we could pull it off, Poirot. Well done all round.
Now, mademoiselle, all that remains is to return our feathered friend to Sanctuary Cove.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Poirot. You are such a dear.
You're blushing, old fellow.
Nonsense.
Gladys won't be happy when she sees this.
Hello? Need the sea tractor, do you?
Yes, please?
On me way. There's lots of talk of Tom Cutter's treasure. It's said to still be buried on the island somewhere. Jewels and gold and all the usual in a chest. When I was younger, me mates and I would search for it. We were convinced it was up on that hill on the western side of the island. The way the story goes, Tom Cutter would spend hours up there just looking out over the sea. We never found so much as a singular coin, though.
Mr. Poirot!
She has enough candles in there to light up a church.
I beg your pardon, mademoiselle?
I'm so clumsy.
Mademoiselle, may I speak to you?
Of course.
Gladys is very upset with Will.
What has it got to do with me?
She believes that you are trying to come between them.
Oh, I didn't mean... I didn't know. I have no reason to hurt either one of them. I was just... Garage was a place to get away from the island.
Would you tell that to Gladys? I believe it would ease her mind.
Of course, of course. Thank you for telling me.
Are there any telegrams for me?
I'll just check. Of course, sir.
Madame, what is the name of this creature?
That's my Chloe. Isn't she a cutiekins?
Delightful.
Let's see. That will be 5 pence, if you please, sir. Thank you for your business, sir. May I help you, sir?
Do you have any books suitable as an anniversary present for a wife?
Here's a brand new book we just got in. Easy French Knitting Patterns by Eugenie Blottieri. 1 and 6, please.
That will do for now, madame.
Like a ride to the island?
Yes, please.
Let's be off then. If you're looking for entertainment during your stay, there's not much at Leathercombe Bay or at the hotel these days. My Gladys and I usually go into Kingsbridge to the moving pictures, and there's some dancing at the hotel there still. Although, when I asked Gladys for this weekend, she refused and gave no reason, no matter how much I asked. She just said I should know. I don't understand women. I truly don't.
Monsieur Gardner, do you think your wife would like this book?
Easy French Knitting Patterns. Poirot, you're a genius.